Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. I'm Srivatsan from Agilisium and your host for today's session. Before we get started, a few housekeeping notes. You are on listen-only mode for today's session. The chat window is open. Please submit your questions at any time during the session. The presentation slides and recording will also be made available. Right? Let's get into it. The question facing life sciences today is not whether AI belongs in drug discovery, regulatory affairs, clinical operations. It does. The harder question is who will actually make it work at scale. And that is exactly what we are here to talk about. Our speaker today is Raj Babu, founder and CEO of Agilisium, the only domain native AI services partner for the life sciences industry. Today, Raj will take us inside what it means to build an AI forward deployed workforce for life sciences. Please welcome Raj. Hi, Raj.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you all very much. And thank you for putting this event together. Um, uh, I would like to do more of this and kind of share my 2 cents on this AI wave that's going to keep coming for quite some time.
Awesome. Very happy to have you here, Raj, and thank you for investing your time with us. Before we get going with the actual webinar, I thought I will just ask you a question. It has been bothering us for quite some time. This is in connection to the recent LinkedIn post you had done about why you don't want to be the same, why you hate the old Agilisium, and why you are looking at transforming Agilisium, and why you don't want to be associated with the old ways of working. Is it possible for you to elaborate to us what you have been thinking?
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Thank you. I think what you meant to ask is why you chose to move away from old Agilisium to new Agilisium. Um, I think there was a recent post for people who don't have the context. Um there was a recent post a week back or less than a week back. I posted telling that I'm leaving Agilisium. Um and then I elaborated below, but the header was I'm leaving Agilisium, and people were and it is obviously what the tricks people use to get people's attention. So I used that old trick. Uh, but then I elaborated, it's not really I'm leaving Agilisium. I'm leaving the old Agilisium, the Agilisium which I started. Uh, I have a huge respect and huge love for what we did for last 12 years. Uh, but then uh, progression is about uh, just as much learning new things is equally more important about leaving the old things. Uh, you cannot keep on carrying your old things and also only learn the new things and progress, right? So the real progress happens when you are willing to carry only the necessary old things very deliberately and objectively, and collect the new things. And we need to understand all the new things that we collect today may be not necessarily the new thing tomorrow and day after. So it will become. So it's a cycle. Continuously, the newer things will be always like it's a forward-looking thing. So I was trying to illustrate the point that I was leaving the old Agilisium, which is the Agilisium of the past, which was very phenomenal, great at that time, very relevant. That's why we grew the way we grew. Is helping our customers moving from on-prem to cloud, which was the thing between 2007 to 2020, right? It almost had a 12 years of 12, 15 years of way, right? Nobody today talks about the cloud transformation and cloud migration because it's an old topic, right? And most of the on-prem to cloud transformation and migration is all happened. Whatever low-hanging fruits have happened. Uh, so now we need to move to the next transformation, right? Um, and that is the AI, right? And AI is not a buzzword; it's a transformation, right? We know that, and we all know sometimes buzzwords come and go, but they don't live up to the hype they are. But at this point, it is very clear AI is not a hype; it's real, right? Um, so Agilisium is become, um, but even before we really took AI, Agilisium was in the process of transformation to a life science domain centric, right? Because uh, what we wanted to be, um, basically, you can be an enabler of change, right? Or you can be an enabler of a transformation, or you can be an agent of transformation. So somebody may ask, what is the agent of transformation and an enabler of transformation? An enabler of transformation is somebody have already made a decision on what transformation they have to make, and then you go and enable them. Right? That's an enabler of transformation. An agent of transformation is you are proactively designing and putting those things in action proactively, not just enabling, proactively enabling the transformation, right? So that is the agent of transformation, and which is a lot more work than just being an enabler, right? Uh, so that is, and then so we were being an enabler of transformation, but what we wanted to become, or what I want Agilisium to become, pretty much from 2018-19, is to become a agent of transformation. For it to become a agent of transformation, you need to, the depth needed is a lot more, right? Uh, and then understood that the way the depth comes is by focus. You cannot go into a depth by being horizontal in everything. You need to focus. And the industry we chose based on various consideration was life sciences. So from that time, we became a life sciences transformation company focused on life sciences, unless technology has just become an enabler. Our act of technology has been an enablement. Our agent role is in the life sciences industry and understanding the business processes, systems, and all that stuff. So
Thank you.
at this point, we have become a life sciences transformation, and the AI came. It was even more exciting because now you want to be an agent, but then there is a transformative tool uh, for that transformation, which is AI. So now we are in life sciences focused, AI-based transformation services to our pharma customers, helping them in their um, in their journey in taking care of the drug discovery and patients.
Thank you, Raj. That has been very helpful. And it did gain social media attention because when a founder says that the old ways of working is not going to be relevant, people do pay attention. Now, to the audience here as to why this is extremely important is that, as Raj had mentioned, he was able to foresee how data, cloud, all of them are going to shape the world of work well ahead, and he was able to ride the wave. And now he is foreseeing that AI is going to be here and it is going to reshape not only the world of work, but the entire ways of working for us. And we will jump into the topic right now. So, Raj, I will start sharing the screen, and you may continue with the conversation or you can elaborate on that. And I will interject with questions as and when required. Just give me a second, please. I will share the screen.
Sure.
I hope you are able to see the screen.
Yep.
So, so I will move to the next one.
So, just to go to the previous slide, Stevenson, I
Yep.
just want to tell the topic is building the AI forward deployment workforce for life sciences. So, really, this topic has two parts, right? One, I think, one is we need to all, as the industry, we all need to build a forward deployment workforce, right? Our workforces today are not forward deployment workforce. What is a forward deployment workforce? Why I think today our workforce is not a forward deployment workforce, and why we need to become a forward deployment workforce. That's something I will explain during the part of this conversation. And then the second part, what we are telling is because Agilisium is primarily a domain focused company, life sciences. So specifically, I'm going to talk about forward deployment of workforce for life sciences. But really, if you look at it, any this the forward deployment workforce is a general theme for everybody, right? The entire people industry, all the people in the technology, this is applicable to them, not limited to life sciences only. We are going to I'm going to specifically a little bit here and there dive into how it is. We are Agilisium is focused on developing the forward deployment workforce for life sciences. All right.
Awesome,
So,
Raj.
with that stage being set, let's move on.
Okay.
See, AI is definitely going to change the speed and capacity, right, of humans' role. Why it's going to change in humans' role is um, from the advent of humanity, right, and from the advent of um, for that matter, even life as we know it, right? The 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 thinking, the intellect, uh, and knowledge gathering, right? Um, uh, in a deliberate way, right? Um, is been a faculty of human beings only, okay, and human beings only. That has been our faculty, and that is the faculty which we have always used for humanity's advantage. So that means a person always has been called a wise person, a skillful person, an intelligent person, a knowledgeable person. All those were always based on the faculty of intellect and knowledge. For the first time in the humanity, why this AI has been so much uh, stirred and scared by everybody more than anything in the past is because while we had many technologies come in and go, nothing really challenged humans, the faculty of humans itself. Nothing really directly challenged um, what we thought to be as a successful human being, right? What we always thought as a successful human being is to have the intelligence and knowledge, right? And how we put both together in the day-to-day life, right? That for the first time in the humanity is being now challenged by a machine, right, or a non-human, which is million billion times more intelligent, could be more intelligent in many ways, and more knowledgeable than a human being. So AI is a direct challenge to the humanity, and the key differentiating and uh, differentiating factor value proposition we thought is to be a productive human being, right? Especially in the workforce, right? It is coming and directly challenging that. It is because it's a billion times better than us, both in knowledge processing and intellect processing,
Awesome,
right?
Raj.
That is the concern. It's a very valid concern. uh, and how do we now go over it? How do we change with that? Because that is there. We are not going to go and drop that. It's going to be there. Now, how do we deal with that is the important part, and that's what we are going to discuss about here. And this is not a matter that I will settle it today with this conversation. Uh, this is a dialogue we will be having for many years, because we as a humanity have to grapple with this, because it's not a small change. But it is important we understand this, and we need to look at this problem in a right way and figure out ways to deal with this, and willing to work with this, and actually later on come to a point where we take advantage of this, and we don't see this as a challenge, where we see this as a tool for our further progression. That is going to take some time, but that is what we should be working towards.
Super. And do you agree with the statement from Satya? about humans' role will be to steer.
Exactly, right. The role play that humans were playing, right, was to do the work. We were the worker. We were doing the work of thinking. We were doing the work of knowledge. We were doing operating the process, right. We were designing the process and everything, right. Uh, Now the AI can do all that much faster and much efficient than us, right? Then the only thing that is left is what is the new desired tool, right? That AI itself doesn't have its at this point, and hopefully so for the foreseeable future, it doesn't have or forever future, it doesn't have its desire of its own, right? Uh,
Correct.
that's a very uh, that's a very human emotion or life's emotion. So what we need to do is that we need to take advantage of that and we need to steer it to our whatever priorities and interest, and let it do all the heavy lifting work of the macro work of doing things. So I completely agree with that statement. That's a very profound statement. So that is where we need to move from humans being doing that macro work. Like for example, humans before the heavy lifting cranes came, we used our muscle power to lift heavy stuff. Rather than once the cranes came, we figured out how to use a crane to do that work, right? So that is a transition we need to make with the AI, right? And that is what so basically we steer the crane to do the macro work of heavy lifting. Same way, we need to steer the AI to do the macro work of most of the work we've been doing, and a steerer of many things. That's what we want to become.
But
Uh,
very nice point,
mhm.
Raj. So you touched upon how earlier more people could actually provide scale, but you have used a very interesting phrase called capability and AI. What's your view on this?
See, as we said, for the economy we had, right? We were at least from 19 for a long time, right? At least for last 150 years, 200 years, right? Uh, we've been the before that muscle was the power, right? Who had the muscle? They had largely. After that, the economic power moved towards from the thinking and the intellect and the knowledge, right? Uh, Now we are coming with another reset where that is not the power, that's a commodity. Intelligence and knowledge is a commodity now, right? AI commodity is going to give that. So then, um, what is human capability now? What was the capability so far was intelligence and knowledge. That is not the capability needed anymore from the humans because AI commodity is going to provide that largely. Then what is our differentiating factor is something. What is our new capability? With the AI being there, we need to now develop a newer capability. We need to bring newer capability to the table, right? Because that old capability we had is not a valuable currency anymore because AI is taken it. So we need to bring new currency, which is a new capability to the table. And that is the transformation we have to go through. And that is what is in the technology world, I'm calling forward deployment experts. That's what we need to build, which we'll be going through. So it's a shift in capability. We need to completely transform because this is the new reality. And we need to talk about it and we need to kind of bring that into education, training, and everything.
Got it. Got it. So since you spoke about the capability, my question to you, like if you're going to fund an organization, will you be funding an organization that is already at a 10,000 people organization or a 20,000 workforce, or are you going to bet your money on somebody who has got an amazing, powerful agent, one or two agents, but it can actually do the work of 20,000 people?
Yeah, no, I think obviously, right? We are all going to uh, invest in the smaller organizations, which is smaller in human size, and appropriately sized from with the AI agents, right? they are leveraging AI agents to do what they want to do. So I think obviously that is the smart thing to do. That is where everybody will be investing on, and and you know, that's what we need to be thinking about, right? We need to think about more. See, I think the AI is created an environment which is which is never been ever better in time and period for entrepreneurs,
Mm,
innovators,
mm,
right? The biggest challenge for entrepreneurs and innovators, um, uh, two things, right? Ability to execute, right? They having a clear execution plan and able to go and execute. Another is a barrier to entry, the which is going to be a financial barrier, and also all the tools and various things that they need to enter. I think now that barrier to entry is been kind of pretty much reduced, because anybody sitting in anywhere in the world can access AI, and kind of many of these tools are available for them. So that barrier is reduced, right? The cost of financial is also is reduced because of that, right?
mm, mm.
You can pretty much tap into leverage AI. So I think this is going to be the greatest time for entrepreneurship, but then really now you have to pick a problem that you have proximity and access to, and you are able to work on it and solve it, right? I think that is where we are going to go. And as we
You
said,
you touched upon the right point, Raj. You spoke about solving the right problem, and you have outlined here, as you can see on the screen, how where humans should actually be focusing on. Could you please elaborate on that?
see, I think humans should be focusing on uh, the problem solving, right? Newer, taking newer problem and solving, right? In a physical construct, right? For example, let's assume one of the problems we have, um, is today is many of these countries are today with the oil shock now, right? Pretty much almost the price of oil has gone close to double, right? It's not almost not double yet, or whatever. It's double in window of 4 months, right? So still we are there in 1970 or 1960, even if we go, or maybe even 1940, right? The key source of energy, one of the key sources of energy was oil, right? And we have come pretty close to 100 years,
Mm,
right? We can say even 1925 and now. And still, the key source of energy is oil, right? Uh, Tell me one company which was number one company in 1925 and still the number one company today. There is never anything like that. So this oil energy problem we are not able to solve, right? And we may don't need to solve in same one single. We don't need to replace, and we don't want to probably replace one oil resource with one other new resource. We don't want to. We need to solve it in million ways. So for example, somebody can go today and solve a energy problem at a household level,
mm,
right? At a household level, they can start a AI company. They don't need to start an international AI, international energy company. They can start a energy company to solve a local problem. It could be energy saving or distribution or whatever, right? Various things like that. You can now, before so they have to look at, okay, the opportunities are immense. Everybody is affected by energy problem now, right? And how can I do a R&D of a new source of energy, as simple as even cooking energy, right?
mm.
There was a shock, we everybody were affected. Why are we not thinking in the college, universities, research institute, not thinking about solving these problems, right?
Got it.
You, before you may say this is a too big a problem, I don't even know where to start and where to finish. Today, that is not the case. With the AI, you can go, you can collaborate with the AI, and it will give some ideas, and you can probably come at a way to solve the problem. So we need to start thinking Stop thinking from, oh, where I can get a job.
Yeah.
What problems, what real world problems I can solve with AI. So we need to think on outcome more than output, right? Thinking is, I want to be a data engineer. Okay.
Mm.
You want to be a data engineer for what? Right? What outcome, business problem you want to solve? That is, so the shift of human, we need to think from, start thinking everybody from output, because most of the output, if you can tell what output you want, largely AI will do. So what we need to now further evolve is, we take advantage of all this output and how can we deliver outcome. That is
Exactly.
the shift, and that is the steer, right? Steer to outcome.
Got it. But Raj, I'm going to connect this statement with that of the next, what's going to come up next. It helps me to understand AI and other tools and technology have actually reduced the gap between ideation to execution. It has
Mm.
democratized the power for anybody to create a very personalized solution for your geography or for your target audience. That's awesome. And that helps us when we identify the right problems and we go ahead and then solve. But I believe you are actually proposing a new standard. That's basically the forward deployment expert as a new professional standard. Could you please elaborate on that?
See, basically, a forward deployment expert is that, um, the we call FDEX. The inspiration for this came from forward deployment engineer, right? Which is the industry terminology now in the AI world. That's quite common in all the AI companies or companies which are adapting to AI to have a forward deployment engineer. I deliberately steered away from forward deployment engineer. I was not totally convinced with the forward deployment engineer. Maybe, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but I think it has its place, but that only is not enough. What, in addition to forward deployment engineers, we need is forward deployment experts. And I will tell what is the difference between a forward deployment expert and a forward deployment engineer. Forward deployment engineer is primarily coming with the expertise of, um, you know, the just the way it says is, the primary is engineering capability with the AI, right? But Agilisium, being a domain company, a domain focused company, trying to solve the problems of the industry and the domain, what we need primarily is the expertise of the domain, right? So that's why we called forward deployment experts. A forward deployment expert is a person who will be able to understand the domain, domain context, domain process, domain data. Then they will also have, and they will be consultative in nature, right? Basically, ask right questions and all the from the customer and all that stuff. Provoke thought process, and they will do the process engineering, right? They will be systems and process engineering. They will understand the underlying of it. So they need to have a multitude. They need to have a multidimensional skill. Uh, so basically, then they can go and solve the business problem and be outcome oriented, focused. So that is what is a forward deployment expert. In Agilisium, we call, basically, and a forward deployment expert. It's made up of three things really. And this is a offering we are building now for our customers as a service offering. It's a forward deployment expert, and this is a human resource that we offer, a talent where they are trained in these all these dimensions I talked about. They know the domain, they know the domain process, they will understand the domain data, they will understand the AI, they will know the vibe coding, they can develop pretty much a prototype without going to a IT person or anything, developer, a front-end developer or a back-end developer. They should be able to develop, and they will be consultative in nature, and the thinking process, they will use the first principles, right? That is the way they approach any problem, using the first principles method. So that's what a forward deployment expert would be. And then The FDX is made up of, as I said, three parts: a forward deployment expert, a forward deployment agent, and forward deployment services. And a forward deployment agent is a AA agent. Uh, it can be just an agent, or it can be an agentic, right? Stuff. And then a forward deployment services is just a whole ecosystem services for a particular area, which could be a combo of forward deployment expert and forward deployment agent, all packaged together for a particular purpose, right? That's a forward deployment services. So these are the three things, but the core of these is really a forward deployment expert, right? That is
Okay.
the human part of it. We need to train. That is going to be the bigger transformation because it's a change for the humans. And another one is we are developing a forward deployment agent, which is kind of for every person, it can be a co-pilot agent, right? So it's a role-based co-pilot agent we are developing for various use cases we have, right? There will be a co-pilot working with the expert. There could be an autonomous agent where they are doing a particular role and a function. Uh, there could be a training agent we are developing, KT agent. So various functions we are developing that. Those are the agents. Um, so these are all the things we are working on, and it's quite exciting.
So Raj, thanks for elaborating on this particular aspect. And I know this requires investment, and you have invested about $5.5 million, and it's no small money. That tells in terms of how serious you are about this whole initiative and how the whole transformation is going to work. So I thought I will just let the audience know about that investment. Um, Coming to this one, to further elaborate on what are the three dimensions around this, I request you to elaborate on these three dimensions, the full integration and how it works.
Yep. See, as I just touched upon this before, but I will again, touch on this. This is very important.
Sure.
See, the people going forward, the human resource, the forward deployment expertise, right? Which think a forward deployment expert is nothing like compared to an application developer in the old world, right? A data engineer or a data scientist, right? So these are roles. What we are creating is a new category of role, right? Called forward deployment expert, right? The way the forward deployment expert will be, I'll use it in the pharma. Well, uh, it will be, for example, we will have a pharma commercial from a sales function expert, right? Or a marketing function expert, right? Um, there could be an incentive compensation expert, which will more detail into that. There could be an omni-channel expert, right? So basically, what does it mean is these people, if you take an omni-channel expert, right, they would understand the domain, the process, the data, where inside the organization, outside the organization, all that stuff. So they will completely understand. So they will have domain, and then they will also be very well versed with the AI and technology, right? And they will also be trained with the best practices, how to be consultative, right? Asking the right questions, right? Positioning it properly, and making sure we get the answers, right? Those kind of things. And also, one of the things most important is we need to understand there is a immense opportunity for next few years is that the entire business process platform, everything we have implemented today, they are all still 95%, if not 98%, um, it's a linear programming, right? It is using a programming language, it's a rule-based programming language. And we all know with the advent of AI, the rule-based programming language is outdated, right? It's not powerful. So everything that we have developed in last 30 years need to be rewritten in the AI programming language, right? So for you to rewrite, you need to understand the domain context, because without that, it is very difficult. And we cannot have one AI person and another domain person. It's not efficient. So what we need is a forward deployment expert who understands the domain, understands the process, understands the systems in it, understands the domain data, regulatory issues around that, and plays with that, within that framework. So we don't need 20 people to do that one work. We can do that with probably 2 to 4 people,
Got it.
right? And then a bunch of agents. That is what we are working on. And I think that's what everybody should be moving. And that is a huge change. And that change doesn't happen without huge investment. And
Yes.
that's why I'm very proud to say we are the, at least from what I know and I have checked, we are the first life sciences company uh, to go and define, and we have defined this new category. The forward deployment experts is a new category. This category is not, I'm quite proud about Agilisium defining this, leading the in defining this category. So we are in that way a category captain. We are creating a new category called forward deployment experts category, and I encourage all other industries we are not or everybody to take that category and run with that, because that's the new category we need to do. So there is no more technology people, no more domain people. We need to bring that together, and the new workforce will be a combo of both. And that's what we all should be investing and developing on.
Excellent. And just to clarify on one of your points, Raj, you said that you don't need 20 people to do a job and you just need 2 people and complemented by other agents. You mean to say that the other 18 people will go on to actually create more value across multiple dimensions. So it's not about how we optimize the workforce, but it is about how we deliver maximum value to our stakeholders. That's what you're referring to, correct?
Exactly. See, if we had 20 people today, right, solving one problem, right? If we design, bring change where we can have 2 people solve that problem, right? Then we should not be afraid, oh, what will happen to 18 people? That's a wrong way to look at the problem.
Hmm.
Right way to look at the problem is, oh my God, we have 9 more additional problems to solve. We have opportunity to solve 9 more problems, which before we did not have the capacity to solve. Now we have 9 other problems. And now we have a freed up bandwidth and capacity. Let's go and solve that. And that's why I told, hey, we have 100-year-old oil problem, and we have not had the capacity to solve that 100-year-old oil problem. If we had AI, why we would, if we are going to be in the same situation in another even 20, 50 years, having the same dependent on oil with AI in it is our mistake. Why don't you take AI and why don't we go and solve these problems which we have not solved for 100 years? This is a huge opportunity for us, and we should not be afraid of AI taking the 18 jobs. We should be excited about AI doing that, and we are having 18 people to go and solve these newer problems, which is a serious problem for us to solve.
Excellent. Excellent. That's a valid example, Raj. Thanks for elaborating. Moving on, here is a practical example in terms of how Agilisium's FDX model actually has unlocked value. Could you please elaborate on this?
There is this one case, but we have many, many, many cases like this, right? The customers, and we've been many cases, at least for last 24 months, we've been, largely doing. And to be honest, Agilisium cannot take the pride for credit for the AI. We did not create it. We are just there tapping into that, right? But all we do well is we take these AI, what is available there in the market, which has been developed by these phenomenal companies, right? The AI platform and the AI product companies. And we take that and we but we understand the domain, we understand the context, our people understand it, and then we apply it, and we are able to create 10x value, right? And I think many other companies are able to do that. I think this is available for everybody to do, right? But the important thing is where I think especially the previous industry I come from, which is IT services industry, we are not in that business anymore. We are in a business transformation services, which is in the life sciences. there are a lot of scare and a lot of concern with the people in that my past industry is, oh, if all these jobs go away, what will happen? AI takes away. Well, my invitation to all of them is do the same thing I did, leave that job and come to this new industry, which is business process transformation. Let's look at the new business, transform it, create new value. If we are going to sit in that old place, which is just a tech services, right? AI is going to obviously come and take away, right? And it is going to take away that 18 jobs which we talked about. We need to be in a place where we think about business problems and figure out 9 other opportunities where we can deploy these 18 people and, you know, have maximum value for them and everybody. That is what it is. It's an immense opportunity where we can do 10x, 100x value creation for our customers and for ourselves and for the whole ecosystem, right? The humanity. So I think we have seen it and we are excited about it. And I welcome everybody to look at it that way, but we just need to reskill. We are not going to do these things, great things, with the people with the same old skill set. We need to bring forward deployment experts, which is they need to understand domain and they need to understand the AI and the technology, and they work together, and they need to be outcome oriented and solve the problems. You're on mute, Sri.
Thanks. So thanks for elaborating on that point, Raj. If you spoke about increasing the value by 10 times, 20 times to the customer. So if I have to ask a question as a founder, and who's no longer part of the IT services world, and you are into in a new dimension, what would you set as a benchmark for companies to have average revenue per employee? Is that even a right measure? Or if that is a right measure, what would be the number that you want to put out there? Any guess if I force you to say that?
That's a very good question. I think companies should still. I think the revenue per employee is still a valid measure, right? But then the right way to look at it, the revenue per employee of the company, I think should you know, in the next 5 years, um, right? If they are doing quite well, um, if they are doing okay in 10 years, they should 10x their revenue, right? They should 10x their revenue. If a company is making 200,000 per employee now, uh, they should be try to make in 5 years a million, right?
Got it. Got it.
With the AI. I'm not necessarily telling that company's revenue will go 10x. I'm not saying that. I don't know. So uh, it could, or it may not, because the industry is not going to become 10x, right? But then the industry could be same. So your revenue per employee has to increase because you're bringing agents and all that stuff to AI into it. So you have to definitely multiply your revenue per employee. So for example, if a company is in a one service line, and if they are today in that one service line, if they are doing, they have let's say 100, they have 100 people, and if they are making $10 million revenue, okay, then in 5 to 10 years from now, for that service line, they should have no more than 10 to 20 employees, and they should be making 10 million.
Got it.
Now, what they will do with the 80 other people? Okay, open 5 other service lines, right? And get 10 million from each of that, right?
Got it.
Uh, there is a possibility, the way you are there in the industry, maybe you can also go from 10 million to 100 million with the same employee count. That's also possible. I don't know. But if that is not a possibility because of the constraint of the industry, then go spread it out into 5 different things and do that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Raj. And one point that I would like to add to your statement is that uh, it's possible to increase the revenue per employee if we link it to the outcome that is going to be delivered, as you said a few minutes back, instead of focusing on the output and the man hours being billed or something like that. And if we focus on the outcome that is getting created, I think the value explosion is going to be immense. So that's what I would just want to register. And given the paucity of time, we will just move on to the next slide. Yeah. So of course, in fact, you had set the context in the beginning itself that people don't have to be scared of AI, but they need to figure out how to live with it and then use it as a tool. Would you like to add your points here?
Yeah. See, I think we need to move from the world of um, where we've been looking at time and material, right? Basically, if a certain work has to be done, we need to have a certain person and a certain amount of material for certain amount of hours, right? Especially in the white collar job, right? In the white collar job now, the time and material is as we progress in time is going to become or most of the white collar job, time and material is not going to become is going to become irrelevant because AI is going to do things a million times faster, right? So the industry so far bought time and material, right? In the white collar industry, when they were buying, customers are not going forward going to buy time and material, they are going to buy outcome, right? They bought time and material to get the outcome.
Mm.
But now the outcome itself is available to them directly. Why they will then buy time and material, right? So they will say, just to give me the outcome. So we as an industry, everybody need to realign to what does it mean, right? To give price it at an outcome and monetize at an outcome level. So that is what we need to change. And then another exciting thing is we are looking the future is looking scary because let's assume so far in the humanity we were solving like let's say a million problems, right? Or let's say we had a million problem and we used a workforce of 4 billion people to solve that million problem. Okay, what is going to happen is that we are thinking AI is coming and solving these million problems in let's say one fourth of the time. So we are afraid of what is going to happen to 4 billion people, or like let's say not all 4 billion. Let's take the white collar job of 1 billion people, right? So we were solving the white collar workforce of the industry. We 1 billion people were solving 1 million problems, right? We are now thinking, oh, now this 1 million problem is AI is going to solve in one fourth of their time and effort, right? So what is going to happen to the remaining, 1 billion people, right? Are we so 750 million people are going to be without a job, right? That is the concern. Well, now, what is that? Not we are not thinking is why we have to be stuck with the solving 1 million problem? Why cannot we now add 3 more million problems which we were not able to take and solve? Add 3 million problems. Now, once you have now, so once you, if the time shrinks, then increase the number of problems you are solving from 1 million to 4 million or 5 million, right? And we have plenty of those. But we are not used to thinking like that. And that is the shock, right? So we are looking at always the past and we are seeing, okay, the future has to align with the way we've been working in the past. And that's why all this concern and scare is coming from. If we now start thinking, why do I need to do only solving one problem? Now that AI is there, it's able to solve the problem which I used to solve in one tenth of my time. Why don't I take 10 more problems, 9 more problems and solve it? That is the thinking process. Once we shift as a society in a large level, to see that we will take more problems and solve it. I think it's really incredibly exciting. I think that is the thing, that is a shift needs to happen in the people in the society and in the industry, and it will happen, right? Once one or two companies take it and show it is successful, others will follow that. But I see it as a very, very incredibly exciting, right? There are more disease our customers can solve, more healthcare we can do, right? No, more quality of living problems we can bring in and all that stuff. So we can 10x the problem solving and create 10x value for the patients and well-being and other things. So I'm seeing this as a very exciting thing.
Awesome. Thanks, Raj. In fact, what I like about the whole statement is that you want more people to solve more problems, and essentially it comes from your philosophy of making our world a better place. So that's an awesome idea. Um, and going back to your point, where you mentioned about it requires a complete change in the way we are actually thinking. My question to you is, and this is a question from a few audience as well, how are we going to manage the cultural shift and the thought process? Because it is not like a switch. You don't switch on and switch off uh, uh, from analog to digital. So how are you, what is your input for someone like me or a fresher or anybody who is going to be part of the workforce to change their mindset? What would you recommend? How would you want us to do that?
See, to be honest, that's the most difficult problem, right? That is the difficult problem because um, as a society, we have a muscle memory, right? And these muscle memories are not built in 1 year, 2 year, and all that stuff, right? Uh, these are built over 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 100 years, right? 200. So the society, what it means to be a professional, what it means to be, study, and what it means to come out of it and graduate and get a job. There is a certain things expectation set and which we are used to for last 30, 40, 50, 60 years, right? And I think like the founder of many of the AI founders, right? The challenge, and they are rightfully saying the problem is not the change. The
Mm,
problem is not the change.
mm,
We as a humanity, we have always dealt with change, and we have been an agent of change, right?
mm,
Most of the changes, even this AI is a change we brought in, humans brought in.
mm,
It did not come and fallen from sky. We brought in the change. So we are the agent of change. But the problem is, at a bigger societal level, um, the velocity of change is very high now, right? There is only so much change we can process as a when you are taking a billion people, when you are trying to bring in a change in a billion people, or like that, right? Or half a billion people, it's not an easy thing. It's a very, very difficult thing. It's a multiple companies, multiple organization. We know how difficult it is to bring a change just in one individual. If we have to change our eating habit, right, we know how difficult it is. But then you are talking about 100 million people, 200 billion people, and making a change, societal change, and in that high velocity, it's a big problem, right? And we are going to struggle with that in that way because it's not easy. We are not used to it. We have never encountered anything like this in the past. So I think the government, the policy makers, the educational institute, businesses like us, business leaders like us, we all need to help the society, to deal with this change. Government has a very big play because they are the biggest stakeholder in this, right? End of the day, governments, people are managed by governments. So I think the governments have to work with the businesses, the institutions, and figure out how to deal with this change, right? Very important. For example, like if you take one of the countries which is high in news, um, is like a country like India, where the white collar job, especially one of their top exports is technology services, BPO, KPO, right? And AI is going to put that in risk. And that means a huge chunk of white collar, highly educated white collar people and the jobs, high paying jobs, top of the pyramid of that society is a concern, is a challenge, right? So how do we move them? How do we transform them? Is not a easy thing. It's a complex problem. So the change management is complex. We need to kind of multiple institutions, including the governments, have to work together to bring about it. Because we need to. One of the things I would say is that people uh, be entrepreneurial. You don't need to be even an entrepreneur, right? You don't need to go and start a company, but have an entrepreneurial mindset. You can be an employee and having an entrepreneurial mindset, right? You don't need to be a founder, a CEO to be an entrepreneur. You entrepreneurial, right? You can have an entrepreneurial mindset. I would encourage everybody to be having an entrepreneurial mindset. The key ingredient of an entrepreneurial mindset is solving a problem, right? So go figure out and solve a problem, right? Even if you are doing some job, use the AI and the technology to solve a problem. It can be in your organization, it can be in your department, or it can be in your society. So I think the moment the whole society becomes entrepreneurial, then I think we will, what I said, the solution is finding nine more problems to solve.
Nice.
Because so go and find those nine more problems to solve. And I think that is the most important thing, and that's what we need to, I would say, while there are many things, but that's what I would say. Hey, be entrepreneurial and try to look at the problem and try to solve the problem.
Thanks, Raj. Good, good.
All right.
That's very helpful, Raj, because you have given a very
And
positive
most important, one important point I want to say there is, and share it to everybody. Come to LinkedIn and share what you have done, because success is contagious. When you have come, when you have solved the problem and you're excited and you share your success story, others want to do that. And we need that as a society now, right? A lot of people are concerned. So go be entrepreneurial, solve the problem, and be a success story and share your success story to others. So then others will follow you. And that is the way we bring in a societal transformation. So
beautiful.
please do so.
Beautiful. Thank you, Raj. And the pivotal point is to focus on FDX. So that's the whole idea as to how this whole transformation can actually start.
Exactly. Agilisium is doing its part, right? Really. And I don't think we are doing this just for our company as a right. I think we have created this new category and we are willing to share it to anybody and everybody who want to take this category. We'll give the recipe for this. Train people to be not like anymore one skill, multi-skilled. People should become like a Swiss Army knife, right? They should be, and one of the tool in that should be domain, one of the tool should be data, process, and all that stuff, right? Become a Swiss Army knife in your skill set so you can become entrepreneurial and solve the problem. And Agilisium is investing $5 million to develop all of our 1,000+ people. I know, over the time to be forward deployment experts, and our customers are going to benefit from that. And by the way, we are even rolling this to our customers. If they want to train their people to forward deployment experts, we are happy to open our platform, how we are doing it to them so they can benefit from it, because this is something that needs to happen to everybody, all organizations and people.
Awesome. Awesome, Raj. In fact, you preemptively answered a question that has come from our audience. And the question was like, would you prefer a domain person or a tech person? And then you answered it that we prefer a person who is multidimensional. So would you like to elaborate on that?
Exactly. And and I'll tell you, in Agilisium, I think as of this year, we have stopped really, hiring only computer science people, right? Largely a technology company to the statement. That's why I said we have become a business process company and not a technology company. Most of our companies hiring is masters, PhD in STEM, right? They are in microbiology or pharmacology or whatever, right? So we are hiring people from science, life science driven education background, uh, who have done, specialized, committed a good amount of their academic career in drug discovery and stuff like that, in that side. And then we are taking them and then we are now training them in programming and whatever other skill set we are. So I'm very proud to say Agilisium mostly hires now people with the STEM education, more in biology and related studies, a master's, PhD, and stuff like that. And we are less about programming languages, right? Pretty much from last year we have started turning down, and that is what we focus on because I think programming language is like English. Everybody should know. They will learn it, right? So we don't want to be spending our time and energy on that. We want to be spending our time on biology and how to solve the problems of life science and human sciences, healthcare.
Got it. So thanks, Raj. I think we are on top of the hour, and uh, moving to paucity of time, we will answer the questions what sometime later. So thank you very much, Raj, for investing your time and sharing your thoughts. Thanks everyone for joining this session and then contributing. One idea to carry with you is FDX. It's not a service offering, it's a new standard. That's the key message out here. And we would love to, as Raj said, we would love to collaborate with those who are interested to be part of this journey. And this is an open call for all the stakeholders. And this is only going to close the gap between AI experimentation, pilots, and production ready, how it is going to scale. To know more about FDX, we encourage you to visit our website and then interact with us. It's still evolving. We are putting up more content out there. Let's co-create this and make it a better standard as every day goes by. So before you go, please do take a few minutes to share your feedback. You will be receiving a feedback link too. Um, have a great evening. Have a great day. This is a very fabulous time to be in. And thanks, Raj, once again for giving us for painting a brighter future for all of us.
Thank you all very much. Bye.
Thank you very much. Take care.